So using substances feels good. Anything that feels good, you're going to want to keep doing. And so if you haven't taken the time to learn a different way to feel good, it's going to be really hard to seek help. I'm Dana Francey, and I'm a social worker with the GNWT. I'm a senior advisor at Culturally Safe Child and Family Services. Substance use is interesting because we seek substances to feel good. And so we use coffee, we use cigarettes, sugar. There's so many things that we can use to elevate our moods. And so it's an okay thing to do in moderation, but as soon as you start to overuse, then you run into some issues. Moderation, so it's actually dependent on each person. So I could drink, 2 bottles of beer and I feel amazing, and another person could drink 1, another person could drink 3. So it really depends on your body type, it depends on your metabolism and how you react. But one of the things that I've often seen is that people don't know how to use substances in a responsible way. And so if you've grown up watching somebody down a 40 of vodka or something else, that's how you're going to use that substance. And so it's really important to understand how you want to use the substance and know your limits. One of the things that happens is if you've grown up in a home with a lot of substance use, it's really hard to recognize the behavior as problematic. And so sometimes you don't even realize that somebody has a substance use problem because it's so normal. One of the things that I tell people to look for is how is it impacting their own life? Not so much how is it impacting the individual's life, but how is their behavior impacting you? Are you missing money? Are you unable to pay your rent? Are you experiencing violence? Are you worried about your loved one and not sure where they are? So those are the types of things that I find it's easier for people to reflect on than looking at somebody else's behavior. It's definitely hard for somebody to move into that stage of, oh, this isn't working for me, this isn't feeling good, I think I may have a problem. And so one of the things that I like to focus on with people is moderation. So yes, you need your alcohol, this is what makes you feel good, this is what makes your personality big and fun, but you don't need to use it to that extreme. So reducing the amounts is a good place to start. So addiction really does thrive in isolation. And so if you are surrounded by people who are using, it's going to be really hard to do any treatment. And so one of the things that tends to happen with people in active addiction is the people who aren't using tend to take steps back and they're not as involved in somebody's life. And a lot of times that's to do with self-preservation of the family, individuals. But what it does do is it removes some healthy, positive supports in the person's life. And so one of the treatments that I've seen that are really successful in the North is land-based programs, getting people back on the land. It's a holistic approach. It involves your physical, your emotional, your spiritual well-being. We have a strength in the North where we have access to culture, especially outside of Yellowknife, and we still participate in a lot of cultural activities. This is probably one of the greatest things each of our communities have, and accessing on-land activities is one of the ways I've seen people, from young people to old guys living on the streets, accessing the land to stay well. 3 generations ago, again, we were living on the land, and now we're not. We have a very busy environment. Things have changed so rapidly, it's been really hard for us to catch up and to really settle, especially with the impacts of colonization. And so if you think about traditionally, When you were on the land, you didn't need to have that high. You didn't need to find something that made you feel good. You were engaging in a lifestyle that allowed you to just get those natural highs. And so now we're in a time where we've had a lot of our culture removed. It's harder to access our culture from time to time because of the cost, because some of the people, the knowledge holders, are no longer here. And so our youth are looking for a way to feel good. And so the easiest way is to find a substance. So if you are concerned about your loved one, you can access help from the health center, from the community counseling program in your community. There are people in your community that are natural helpers. I think we all know of somebody who in the community is the person you go to when you're struggling. And so accessing help through them is okay. One of the things that I've seen in working in different communities in the North is some communities have better resources that are from the ground up. They're not necessarily government programs, but there are elders groups. They are people in the community who create a better sense of community. And when your community has experienced the trauma from colonization, it's really hard to get back to a place where you feel like a community. And so one of the strengths of a community is to look out for each other, is to talk with each other. Colonization really was about separating us, and so coming back together is needed to be able to heal.